Well, it's that time again where Dreamcast Guy has gone out of his way to make a relatively terrible video faster than he needs to and get some things wrong. I will never understand why he just doesn't wait like a day or two before making a video, refining some of his points, and then talking about the subject at hand. It would make his life so much easier and he would get less hate for his videos and probably not be called a PlayStation fanboy, but I don't think that's ever gonna change. But hey, he's just a gift that keeps on giving, so let's just get into his video.
What's up, gamers? Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're going to talk about Xbox, because the idea of Xbox as it currently exists is definitely doomed. The idea of cheap games, the idea of getting stuff in a cheap subscription model, I mean, that's all about to completely collapse. I think it's a pretty safe bet to say.
Oh, so Xbox is now dying because they did a price increase and added some unnecessary tiers. I don't know why they added those. They genuinely should have just done the price increase and that's it. But I'm really wondering why you're mentioning this, because to me, right, if PlayStation did that, are you going to keep the same energy that, oh look, PlayStation's dying because they're going to add maybe a couple new tiers and another price increase? If they did it, would you do the exact same thing? But like you said, you've already admitted that you only do this just to get the views and just to hate on Xbox, which doesn't necessarily surprise me. You're all out there to get your bag, so I can't blame you too much, but I'm gonna call you out for it. Honestly, what was Microsoft/Xbox thinking about adding those new tiers? They really, to me, add no purpose to Game Pass, and I would say the price to actually offering of those new tiers isn't necessarily worth it. You should just stick with Ultimate or whatever the new one is. I'm not sure if it still has the same benefits of day one games. I think it's only available on Ultimate now, which is a big disappointment, but oh well, I guess Ultimate's the only one that's really worth it at the end of the day, so I wouldn't really bother about many other tiers. And I would only spend money on Ultimate through key sites. You can get discounted keys for that stuff, and save yourself a bit of money, if you so choose to. Or only buy it when you need it. That's the best way I'm going to look at it.
This current slate of Xbox games does look good. Stuff like, specifically, I'm extremely excited for another Outer Worlds, and Avowed looks fantastic, but I think after these games are done, Xbox is just going to collapse.
So let me get this straight. You think they're going to collapse because this is their only lineup of games for the next couple of years, right? Is that what I'm getting at here? Why would they spend so much money on a huge acquisition like Activision Blizzard and then just go away after a couple of years? That seems like a pretty long-term investment to get more money out of those franchises. Am I missing something here? Or is Dreamcast Guy just retarded? Because if you think about it, right, if that's the issue with them only having this one lineup of games, and that this is going to be like the lineup that's going to be their last, with only a couple games after that, wouldn't that mean that Sony is now dead because they haven't made anything that's actually worthwhile for this year? Like, the only one that we can actually name is Astrobot, and that game looks peak. It looks fun. But what else have they got this year that's actually worth a damn for their community? So I have to ask myself, what are you trying to say by this? Because it doesn't make any sense. Why would they still be making games, or still focusing on doing that? If they were going to leave in a couple years, I'm sure they would want to slowly shuttle these things down and move on.
And surprisingly, it is because of Xbox Game Pass. I want to explain to you throughout this video why I believe that Xbox Game Pass is actually leading to the death of Xbox as a brand, and why it's coming so extremely soon.
If you believe Game Pass is entirely the reason why they're dying, I think you're genuinely stupid, because there are so many things you could look at that they've made terrible business decisions or terrible decisions on their platform that makes the platform worse. You can look at their quality of games, the lack of constant and consistent games across the board, new installments into franchises within under 3 years. That is the big issue that most people have. And alongside, you could say that Game Pass isn't really delivering a good and consistent experience across the board, but that really depends on who you ask. You should treat the death of any company as a death by 1,000 cuts, because it's not going to be one singular business decision that completely takes them down. It will be multiple bad ones.
Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe.
You heard the man. Help me reach 2,000 subs. I would greatly appreciate it, and I don't know, it would give me a very big incentive to finally start streaming, as I just need to find the time to do it. So, you got your incentive. And if you like the content, you should just do it anyway.
If you haven't already. So, yesterday, late last night, they announced that they are trying to change the way that Xbox Game Pass works. They're raising the cost of it by 25%, so it's way more expensive. And they're trying to make a new tier called Standard, which does not have day one games. Now, a lot of Xbox fans are defending this, saying it's fake outrage, that nobody cares that it's more expensive, which is...
Okay, I can partially agree with them. I don't think the biggest issue out of this announcement is the price increase, but the actual adding of new tiers and taking away of some features is the biggest problem. A price increase, like I said, was expected, but these new tiers, absolutely not. Nobody wanted them. They're completely useless. Microsoft, in my eyes, already had the formula to do relatively successful with Game Pass, because the tiers, what they offered, was an actual pretty good value compared to other subscription services.
Very strange to say, because I think everybody's kind of broke, so I think people who are complaining about the higher price are actually upset about the higher price. People are claiming it's misleading to say that they're removing games when... that is literally what's happening. The funniest part about this, though, is that I have seen a lot of Xbox people saying, okay, well, PlayStation Plus is also getting more expensive and nobody's talking about that. Well, this is funny for two reasons. First off, yeah, this sucks as well. I talked about it. I've made multiple videos about the PlayStation Plus price increase because A, PlayStation Plus was already too expensive. Now it's even more expensive. And B, it's funny when people say no one's talking about this, when in fact, this is an article of people talking about this, but...
Dreamcast Guy, the issue that a lot of people have, especially something that I notice with you and you've admitted yourself, is that you do Xbox news and make it more doom and gloom than it needs to be, because most of the time it's not as bad as people say it is. But then someone like you crawls out and makes a video less than an hour later saying how this is going to be the end of the Xbox. That's the problem that a lot of people have, and a lot of people look at this and be like, oh, everyone only talks about negatives when it comes to Xbox. Yeah, for the most of the time they do, and that's where we mainly notice it, from people like you, and the occasional idiot on Twitter.
I do think it's funny that the difference is the fact that Sony has always said that PlayStation Plus Premium, or any tier of PlayStation Plus, is in fact optional. You know, you're still going to have to buy your games. They're not, saying day and date. They're not giving you any sort of discount. The idea has always been that you buy the games you want to buy on PlayStation, which is why they actually make money, but more on that in a bit.
So you're telling me on Xbox you can't buy games anymore. You have to get a subscription service just to get those games. You know, there's a store, right, where you can buy these individual games, and Game Pass only really offers you Xbox Live Gold, which gives you, that certain amount of free games a month. And alongside the discounts that it offers as well. I think it's only available for Ultimate, I'm not too sure. But you're telling me we can't buy games on Xbox. Where did you get that information? And why have I not heard about this so I can laugh at Microsoft for making such a stupid decision? Oh, that's right, they would never do that, because that would probably make them lose a majority of their consumer base, not having the choice to buy their own games or get them on discounted key sites, which is what you should be doing. I know I'm really shilling for key sites. I think it's just the best opportunity for all of you to save your money.
And then the other part of it is the fact that PlayStation Plus is just for cloud saves if you want their indies and stuff like that for PlayStation Plus.
Wait a minute, they make you pay for cloud save? Both Microsoft and Valve give you that for free. Is that the incentive? Getting cloud save? That's insane. I honestly forgot all about that they had to pay for it. No way they make you pay for something that should just be standard with your console. That's honestly insane. I can't believe that. You have to pay for that. I honestly feel sorry for you guys. You shouldn't have to pay for such a simple feature.
Extra. This has always been an optional service, whereas when it comes to Game Pass, for Microsoft, they essentially imply that this is mandatory. Do you want these games? Play day one with Game Pass. When what they actually mean now is get a Game Pass Ultimate, or you don't get anything. Now,
you don't need Game Pass to play your games, you only need it if you need to play online, and I think they have their own certain tier for that. I could be entirely wrong, as I know they rolled it into Game Pass and stopped calling it Xbox Live for some time now, but I believe there is some way that you can actually purchase just that on its own. I could be entirely wrong, I don't use the platform anymore myself.
A lot of people are basically pointing out the fact that it is weird that they're calling this Game Pass Standard, when it doesn't actually have day one games. I think that they're changing the status quo. I think very soon they're going to start to make it so that you're supposed to think about you buying Xbox games because they definitely need your cash. And then there's this separate, much more expensive tier if you want the Game Pass Ultimate Day 1 games. It's currently $20 here in America. It's going to be $23 in Canada.
Bro, I just found this out. Most of this stuff only applies to Xbox. The people that bought into the ecosystem get a worse deal over PC players. That's honestly insane. I just looked at this right, and they're still offering what I'm showing you on screen right here. That is insane. It doesn't apply to us PC players. Why are we getting the better deal?
You've lost. This is so ridiculous, the fact that they're... Okay, beyond even that though, let's talk about the fact that this price increase, I think, is going to make more people want to switch to either PC gaming, Nintendo Switch gaming, or PlayStation gaming. Like, even if you have been enjoying the Xbox ecosystem, like, they keep increasing the costs for the features you already have.
Dreamcast Guy, this is all you need to say. Both Xbox and PlayStation do this with their consumer base, including Nintendo. They will try to get as much money out of you as humanly possible. That's why when people say, come to PC, you won't spend as much money, you genuinely won't spend as much, as you're not paying for basic features that should come standard with your platform without needing you to pay that money. When will you start to realize that?
You do not own your Xbox games. You're renting them. You're paying a subscription fee to have access to them. The same way that you don't own the shows you're watching on Paramount Plus, or, I'm super obsessed with House of the Dragon, the new Game of Thrones show. That is not something I own. I can watch it via my HBO subscription, but, I don't really have it. I can't just boot it up when...
What is the old saying again? If I don't own my digital games, piracy isn't stealing or whatever? I don't remember the analogy, but that's the basic gist of it. This is why people should get into, emulating and not paying money for certain games. If you really want to keep your games for years to come, there are alternatives to do it.
Whenever I want. It is now the same thing with Xbox games. If you keep subscribing to Game Pass, you are allowed access to them, but at any point, you can just lose it if you don't keep paying for the games you want to continue to play.
Well, this isn't just a Game Pass issue, this is just a problem with digital ownership. You will own nothing and you will be happy.
And access to day one stuff is forced into the highest tier at £180 a year. I'd rather just buy my games. I think this is what they're trying to do. They're trying to trick you into actually buying stuff. A lot of people are basically bringing this up. Like, it is weird to think about. I want to look at some tweets here by Paul Tassi, because this is an interesting one. The amount of people that are defending this, the weirdest Xbox defenses I've seen is everybody knew this was going to get more expensive, so it's not a big deal. That to me is weird because, like, aren't you still upset that they're gouging you? You already were playing these games, and now they're charging you more without giving you extra games.
Okay, I know I've repeated this multiple times, but where was this exact same energy when criticizing Sony when they made you pay more for their subscription services? Of course, you're not paying directly for games, you're paying for online features, cloud save, all those other things. But where was that extra criticism put to them as well? Because both of these companies can be criticized for doing this, and it should be done. Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting the value that's actually worth from these, there's no point actually sticking with them. And yes, people shouldn't be blindly defending this and saying, yeah, you were expecting it. Like me personally, I was expecting a price increase. We should expect a company to be making more money and wanting to make more money from this. But really, should you be sitting there and saying, oh, this company's bad because they do it, and then not call out the other company for doing it?
Like, there has not been a lot of Xbox exclusives. Like, that's not even like a bag. There's just not a lot of them. I mean, there's not a lot of PlayStation exclusives either. I mean, only Nintendo is truly killing it when it comes to exclusives.
This is probably his best take. Good on you, Methcast Guy, for doing the Lord's work with the greatest take yet in this video.
But with PlayStation, you buy the ones you want, you skip the ones you don't. Whereas with Xbox Game Pass, the assumed assumption is like, okay, you gotta keep paying so you can eventually get access to that good catalog of games. Like, I didn't really like Starfield that much. I gave it a 7 out of 10, but...
there's a very easy solution to save a lot of the money that you're spending on these games, right? Just spend on a subscription service when there's a select amount of games that you want, or a game that you want. Then and there, you're done. That's it. You don't need to continually pay for multiple months on end, not playing, not using any of the games or the subscription service at all. You know what, I think we're just gonna leave the video here. I'm genuinely done with Dreamcast Guy. His meth, his brain, it all hurts me. I wanna cry. So I think we're just gonna completely end it here. I'll see you on the next video. Help me reach 2,000 subs. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. I'm gonna go back and play War Thunder.